Hi, so I guess Kasper introduced me. Today I will talk about slashing CI setup time for React Native project. I'm Maciej. I'm working at Software Mention in open source stream. Currently I'm working on React Native screens and setup CI. And today I want to tell you a little bit about the second one. So let's start with how setting up CI looks right now. So basically this is a task that is performed rarely. We do it when the project starts or sometime after it starts. So it's done probably once a year or even less often. This is trial and error process. So even if we did in the past some research and we understand how it works, probably after this 1 or 2 years we forgot how to do it properly, and we just go through articles, old code bases, and Stack Overflow to just put different pieces together just to make it work, and usually it doesn't, so you just commit another small change, wait for the CI, hopefully it will work, and it takes a lot of time. So there is temptation, and it sometimes happens that we're skipping it at the beginning. If it's like personal project, we don't know if it will be product in the future, so probably there is no reason to spend hours on setting up CI. If it's for the client, there is probably when starting, it's better to get the MVP done or another cool feature to make it work. And that brings us to the situation that, for example, the code is inconsistent because different developers have different code styles. Or for example, if you are doing something working on TypeScript, there is always, if there are problems, there is always you made something throw and then add this and just don't think about it anymore. But sometimes there is time that you need to you think let's introduce this CI. And so with all of those shortcuts, you don't need to just spend hours on setting up CI. You need to also pay the stack debt, and it may be circle that you don't have a time. You need to spend a lot of time refactoring, so you don't have a time for that. And there's also the thing with the regression. So for example, you may have, you don't have automatic way to deliver the testing up to the sorry. You don't have automatic way to deliver the app to the testers, and you need to do it manually, so you waste time that you otherwise would spend on feature, or you don't have proper testing, so you need to, you may add the feature that just brings a bug in another place. And from my experience, setting up CI looks like this. Yeah, so just going through different files and trying to put something together.
5 hours later.
Yeah, so I actually tried to record video when I'm setting the entire process manually to see how much will it take, and after 1.5 hours, I just gave up with some problem. So this is probably at least hours. And we did what programmers do, so we thought, let's automate it. So we were starting some projects at Software Mention, some let's call it moonshot projects, and one of them was npx setup CI. This is also a command that you can use for your existing or new project. And basically the idea is to speed up the process. We released this at the end of August, and since then we added some cool features and also improved the developer experience. And to compare with the previous video, this is how it looks like. So we're running the command, and we have multi-select to just choose the workflows we are interested in, and the tool is going through each workflow and says what is being done. Of course, you probably won't read all of the logs, but it's saying it anyway. And we also sometimes run some different tools in sub-processes, but everything clearly so you know what's going on. Yeah, and at the end, we just printing the diff, what changed, what files were touched, and the box that says what are the steps that we couldn't make automatically, or that we didn't do because we didn't want to interfere with your setup. Yeah, and to compare like with the previous video when it took like more than 1.5 hours, here it took 2.5 minutes. So even if you are starting your own project that you don't want to spend time doing CI, this is just running and it works should work straight away, hopefully. Yeah, so I would say this is huge like improvement. Yeah, and how it works, we try to like kind of guess with some heuristics what your setup looks like. We install missing dependencies, we add missing configs, we sometimes run some different tool and the some process, and at the end we generate the YAMLs. Yeah, and what's important to like mention here is that we try not to interfere with your setup. So for example, if you have in package.json some script for test defined, we just saying in the box at the end that, hey, you have had it already that configured, and this is something that we would do. So just not to break anything you have already there. And from feature list, we focus on GitHub Actions. We support Yarn and NPM. We have also support for monorepo. We focused from the features on type checking, code consistency, unit test, end-to-end test, and app preview. And those are made with TypeScript, async, and preter, just Detox or Maestro for end-to-end test, and app preview with EAS build or EAS update. And like when we are doing and focusing on CI, we try to like incorporate all of the best practices we get to know. So to just show you what are the results of this tool. So for example, for app preview, we use GitHub action from Expo GitHub action. And when you do pull request, it generates a comment with link to your dev client and also QR code for your app preview. And when you push another commit, it just edit it. So you can always like show what's how currently your app or like app on this feature branch looks like. Other thing that we like stumbled across was that Maestro, when doing development build, has sometimes for the client it has some pop-up that covers the screen and the tests are flaky because they fail. So we added some hack that just if it like recognizes that's the case, it just skips this step. Of course, when you are doing tests, if something fails, we upload the artifact. And also, there is like, from my experience, it's common that when you have set up Node, you just hardcode the version everywhere. And the good practice is to just put it in NVMRC file. And if you didn't do that, we just add it. And instead of using hard-coded version, we just put that it's taken from there. And when you want to bump this version, it's everything in one place. Yeah, so so those are the features that we found are more essential and most common. But what's important to say is that this feature is made for all of you. So if you have any feature requests, just talk to me after the keynote or just file the issue. We definitely will take a look at it. And because I wanted to add a little bit meat to the presentation, I decided to just quickly go through really neat feature that we have. So basically, when you are doing a Maestro test, we try to cache the build so you don't need to do it multiple times because it takes like 30 minutes. So first time so when we are starting, we take the build. We're doing the build on the debug build. We cache it, and with next commits, we just retrieve the build from the cache and run Metro Bundler to just keep on the build altogether. And one thing that's important to mention here is that we're doing this also main. This is some GitHub restriction that GitHub cannot access cache from branches always. So we're doing this for main. That may sound redundant, but it's necessary. So if you create like parallel branches, you can also access it. Yeah, and just to compare, this is a perform test with all of workflows except Detox. And it took 52 minutes, and build from that was 40. And after all of the caches, it was just 12 minutes. So I would say this is huge, like, save on your CI time. Yeah, and just let's quickly walk through what we are planning next. So we imagine that the normal workflow looks in a way that you have your app and there are processes around that, and those processes divide in the feature branch, main, and release branch. On feature, you just create new features, and sometimes you review them, and sometimes you want to see the preview. On main, you have continuous integration, so you have continuously working app, hopefully. And sometimes we are doing the releases to deploy the features to the client. So we call it multi-branch, and for now we just allow to create all of workflows for feature branch. But we'd like to add the feature that you can choose which workflows are available for each branch. Yeah, and from other requested features, there is PNPM and bounce support. And we thought about automatic versioning. This is something that we recognize that you can have situation that it's not exactly clear which version testers test and what we are developing. So we would want to add to make that automatic. So just to get this problem out of the way. Yeah, and that's all from me. Thank you for your attention. And this is QR code. You can see our README or see the tool. You can also give us a star. And if you have any questions, just bring them on. Thank you.
Any questions to Maciej? B? There you go.
You mentioned there is a cache for dev builds. So how do you make sure it's the same build for the source files?
Yeah,
so
sorry, I forgot to mention that. We are using the Expo fingerprint to check that.
Okay, so is it Expo related, or will it work for any React Native project?
So we rely heavily on Expo for, so we try to support both workflows. We focus mainly on Expo because this is go-to way right now, but we try to test in both React Native and Expo, but for React Native, you sometimes need to perform some additional steps.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Cheers.
Maybe one more? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maciej.